Hey everybody, welcome to Home with the Halsteads. I am so privileged this morning to have my dear friend Karen Green with us in my kitchen, and she's going to be showing us how to make cheese straws, and I'm so excited about that. And thank you, Karen, for coming.
I'm excited to be here, Joy.
Well, I appreciate that. Karen and Larry have served our community and our church for so many years. Both were in education and served great roles there, and Karen is really an expert. She served as the nutrition director for the Thomas County School System and retired from there. So she really is the expert, and I'm just the amateur having fun making these videos and inviting you into my kitchen every week. So at this time, I'm just going to turn it over to Karen, and you take it away and show us how to make these good cheese straws.
Okay. Well, I'm excited that Joyce asked me. She, to me, really is the expert, not me, because y'all watched all these videos, and I've even saved tons of yours, Joyce. But anyway, this recipe came from my grandmother. I even have handwritten, she wrote things on envelopes, extra sheets like invoices and things. So I found this when Joyce asked me to do this, and she just was a special lady to me. And if she was still living, she would be about 120 years old, I guess. But Grandmama always made these back in those days for wedding receptions at Christmas time. And then my mother made them at Christmas, and everybody looked forward to cheese straws at Christmas. And then when I moved to Thomasville, I would go to Mother's house. She had 3 ovens, so we could cook cheese straws after cheese straws.
Wow.
And our children love them. So every Christmas when they come home, they look for a Charles chip can, which I brought. I'll show you later. We keep it in a tin can because they stay crisper in a tin can. But anyway, everybody loves them. Everybody says, Karen, are you going to make me some for Christmas? That's what I want you to give me for Christmas. Our Sunday school teacher always asks for cheese straws for Christmas. But this has been a delight for me to be here, Joyce, and we'll talk a little bit about how to make it.
Yes, that's great. Why don't you tell us what ingredients you're going to use, and then we'll zoom in closer and show them how to make it.
Okay, we use sharp cheese, of course, cheese straws. I use a stick of margarine. I use cayenne red pepper, ground red pepper, plain flour, and then when we get ready to bake them, I use salt. So very simple ingredients, very easy to do.
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm ready.
All righty.
Okay. All right, we're back and we're ready to make some cheese straws. I have 1 pound of cheese, and I have let this sit overnight, and I broke it into pieces. I'm just going to put it in our mixing bowl. Some people grate the cheese, but I've always found if you let it sit overnight, it does just as well to cream it with your margarine. So let me get the blocks of cheese in here. 1 pound of sharp cheese. Just don't leave any of it. And then I will put a stick of margarine. Now some people use butter, but I've found that over the years butter has more oil in it than margarine, so you do not want to use butter because they'll be flat. You want your cheese straws to stand and be stiff and crispy. So let's just let it start creaming that cheese. And the beater that we've used is not the whisk beater. It's more or less forgot exactly what they call that one. Let me stop and show it to you. I think you could see it in it.
I don't remember what that's called either.
I had the name on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
But
it works well, I can tell that.
You just let it beat until it gets very creamy. Sometimes it'll sling out if you go too fast.
Oh, I'm good at slinging too.
But I do this, cream it, cream it, cream it. Now we pre-measured our flour, which would be the next ingredients, and we sifted our plain flour, and we sifted the 1/4 cup, that would be hot, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper into our flour. We sifted it in there. If you were to add it directly into the cheese straw, it wouldn't be evenly distributed. So that's why we sift our red pepper in with our plain flour.
So the red pepper, is that cayenne pepper?
It's cayenne ground red pepper.
Ground red
yes,
pepper.
Very fine. It really gives it that kick I think that's why a lot of people love it, because of the red pepper.
I do too. I can't wait. That's pretty. It's got a beautiful color.
I'm gonna stop it and scrape the sides just a little bit because I see a little bit of margarine on that side there. Very creamy. Now you want to cream it until you don't see any lumps in the cheese. And that's why this beater does such a good job. So a few little clumps. I'll cream it just a little bit longer.
Karen has better eyes than I do. I would say that's creamed, and she can see lumps in it. That's why she's the expert, and I'm not.
Okay. I just would hate for making cheese straws for 40-something years and this batch fail on the video. That would be something.
Oh no, it'll be perfect and so delicious.
All right, now that's creamy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 cup of flour at a time. And you want to just gradually, you want it on slow speed so the flour doesn't go all over you and everywhere else. Just gradually add it. And remember, the red pepper's already in there. You see I'm getting a little bit of flour on Joyce's pretty.
Oh, that is not a problem.
And once you get a little bit in there, then just turn your mixer speed up so that can gradually get in there. Add some more. So we've already pre-measured the 2 cups. So this is 2 cups of plain flour. Now there's all different makes of plain flour, but I specifically use the white lily.
That's what I use too. I love white lily flour. My mother used that.
You want to get it evenly distributed. That's why you wouldn't want to dump all of 2 cups at one time. And can you see how it's getting thicker? By the time I add all of the flour, when we beat it, it's going to come away from the sides, kind of like bread dough. And then you'll be able to even handle it with your hands and it won't stick to your hands.
Wow.
I have had sometimes more oil in cheeses, even though I use the same brand of cheese every time. When it doesn't come away from it at the sides, then I had to add just a little more flour. But if you add too much flour, they're going to be cakey tasting, and you won't get a lot of that cheese taste.
You know, it's so interesting to me as we cook and as we share recipes, each person has little tips that makes all the difference in the world in our food.
But when you've been doing it for a long, long
I know,
time,
that's right. And it's hard to write down all of these tips. So showing people is great.
I think so too. And I've shared this recipe. You know, there's a lot of people that are stingy with their recipes.
That's right.
That won't share their recipes.
That's
and I really appreciate Joyce sharing all of her good recipes.
Look at that.
And simple recipes.
Yes, yes.
You know, my daughters are on the go with sports and all that with their kids, and simple recipes is what they look for. And so they'll always say, Mama, how did you make this? Or how did you make that? So we're trying to get Joyce to do a cookbook.
And I'm thinking about it. Look at that. That must be the right cheese because it's coming away from the side.
Well, let me stop it and see.
Oh, wow.
How
Look
it
at
looks.
that.
There we go.
How about that? Okay, so what is the next step?
All right, we're going to take this cheese, of course, out of the bowl. We're going to put it in a cookie press.
Okay.
And then we'll show them that.
We'll come
next
back and we'll come back and show you how to do that. We'll be back in just a minute.
Okay. All right, we're back and we've got our next utensils to use. You can see that the cheese looks kind of doughy, and I'm able to pick it up with my hands, and I'm going to put it in a what we call an old-timey cookie pastry press. And you can't find these in the store anymore. It's made by Miro. And my friend Hugh Lane, who you probably saw in October, found this on eBay. And of course I'd had 2 or 3 at home. And I'm going to put it in my cookie press, but I want to show you the tip that we use. I always use the star tip to do my cheese straws because they come out in a star shape, in a line, and we'll show you that the next step. But I'm going to pack my cheese, my cheese into my cookie press. You see, you can do it with my hands. Just kind of push it down. You're going to fill it to the top. This one recipe with a pound of sharp cheese usually makes, when we break the cheese straws, my mother and I have counted them through the years when we would make them for wedding receptions, 150 little pieces.
Wow.
So we actually counted them one day because I would bake the cheese straws and Mother likes to break them into pieces, and so that was fun time together. Mother doesn't do it anymore. She's 92, but she still likes for me to make the cheese straws and bring to her independent living for her friends. So now we got it in the cookie press, and we'll be back.
Bring that over a little closer,
Okay.
Karen, and show the cookie press right here.
Okay, there it is.
And so, did that just screw on?
It just screws on.
Okay.
The bottom screws and the top screws.
Okay.
And then when we get ready to squeeze out, we're going to turn from the top.
Okay. So we'll be back in just a minute, and she'll show us how to prepare her cookie sheets and tell us about the temperature that we're going to cook it on, and show us how to spread and to put these cheese straws on the cookie sheet. I don't even know how to do that. So we'll be right back.
All right, we're back, and we filled our cookie press, and we're ready to squeeze out the cheese straws. So what I've done is we preheated the oven to 375, and we let it bake between 14, maybe 16 minutes. That depends on your oven. And then I'm going to squeeze out the cheese straws, and I'm going to do one long line, and sometimes I turn the cookie press, and you'll see it. Start squeezing out, kind of curve it, and I kind of let it kind of fall where it does, and it just kind of just ropes. I kind of twist just a little bit on the handle in the back.
Look how pretty.
When you get to the end, you just turn it the opposite way to cut off that cheese, and then you start with another line.
Oh my goodness.
And you see how the star makes the little peaks on the top? That's why I use the star tip. Very simple. You know, sometimes some people will do like small little pieces of cheese straws. Well, it takes you forever to make small pieces at one time. And then we do them in long strands. And then you'll know when we get ready to take them out of the oven, if they're correctly baked, you'll be able to take the whole long line right off and put on your countertop. Make sure you have some foil laid out when they come out of the oven. Okay, we've got our first pan completely filled with our strands of cheese straws. And the last thing you'll do before they go in the oven at 375 is sprinkle salt, lightly sprinkle now. And I just simply sprinkle. I can hear it hit most of the foil, but you don't want to make it too salty because when you store them in your tin can, they'll, remain some of the salt on there. So just lightly sprinkle them. And we're ready to put them in the oven and bake them between 14 and 16 minutes. And let me tell you a little bit about once we check it after the 14 minutes. You want when you touch it with your finger, you want it to touch crispy. And if it does not, if it touches soft, then you need to leave it in there another 1 or 2 minutes. We'll be back. All right, we've got them out of the oven, and we did have to test them with our fingers and put them in like a minute or 2 longer because they did not touch as crispy as I thought they should be. So they're ready, and you can see how I took them off the pan just like I put them on there. You'll know that they're going to be good and crispy if you can take the whole strand just like this. And when you get them on your foil, sometimes they'll sweat. So you want to kind of keep moving them around on the foil so that moisture doesn't get up underneath the bottom of the cheese straws. So keep moving around. You see a little bit of moisture there. So just move it. And when they get cool to the touch or a little bit warm, that you can handle them, then I simply break them in small pieces.
Wow.
And you can kind of keep, some of them are curvy, some of them are straight, whatever size you want. And then you'll let them completely cool on this foil before you ever put them in your real pretty tin that you're going to use at Christmas time, that you're going to give as Christmas gifts. People will ask every year, where's my cheese straws? Where's my cheese straws? So just continue to break. Remember to let them completely cool, because if you do not let them completely cool before you put them in the tin, they will not stay crispy. And we line the tin with aluminum foil because the salt will tend to get on the bottom of your tin and sometimes rust the bottom of your tin. So we hope you enjoy this. It's going to be yummy, Joyce. I can't wait till they cool.
I can't wait either. We're going to finish cooking the rest of them and then we'll be back. Okay, we're all finished here. Karen, thank you so much for coming. I am so thrilled because I feel like now that I know how to make cheese straws, and I can just tell you, those of you who receive Christmas gifts from me, just be ready because you're going to get some cheese straws. So Karen, wrap us up here and tell us what the next step is.
Well, I've had a blast, Joyce.
Oh.
This is so much fun. I love sharing family recipes, family
I know you do.
traditions, family memories. And I forgot to tell y'all, I even taught my granddaughter how to squeeze out cheese straws, and she's made them at college.
I love it.
And they love them. They
Yes.
absolutely love them. So you're ready to fill your tins and give your gifts away.
Oh, how wonderful.
And we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody too. Merry Christmas, Karen.
You too, Joyce.
Thank you.
All right, welcome.